It's a conversation some MPs think has been shunned for too long.
There's no alternative provision there in the system that teaches boys this is how it is to be a man. It just isn't there. It's being left to the internet.
The challenges facing young men across the country.
As men, we don't do as well as girls at school. We are more likely to get excluded. We dominate homelessness, addiction, prison and suicide statistics.
And how to support them as they grow up.
It's especially tough for boys because we have this idea that we can't open up as much as, say, girls.
At this school in Bishop Auckland, the local MP wants to hear from pupils.
So we're going to be having a discussion about relationships and social media, or anywhere really where you want to take it.
And there's one name that keeps cropping up.
I mean, that Andrew Tate was everywhere for like ages, and people take him seriously. Right. Like, he's got such an influence on people.
I remember watching Andrew Tate.
Oh yeah, so did I.
I remember watching it. I remember like going, wow, he's got two big eyes.
He's so good. I want that.
Yeah.
Did you seek that out, or did your friends suggest
I
it,
found
or did it just?
It just popped up for me. I just found it. I thought, you know what, I'll follow this because I think this might. I thought this might help me learn how to make loads of money. But then when I found out what he did, I straight unfollowed him.
If like women are like misbehaving, put them in a place.
Yeah, he's quite like, what's the word?
Stuck in old times.
Yeah.
You want to give your kids freedom to go online, to have social media accounts. You don't want to feel like you're oppressing your children. But then also, it is scary as a parent not always being able to control the spaces that your kids are in.
You're making a big mistake. And he's only a kid.
Dad, I haven't done anything.
This conversation, like so many others in recent weeks, was sparked by the Netflix drama Adolescence, the story of a 13-year-old boy accused of stabbing a female classmate.
Do you know a girl called Katie Leonard?
It has struck a chord with the public, politicians and pupils. These boys, aged 14 and 15, feel that many adults don't understand them.
The way parents interpret school now, like, say they went 20 years ago, it's completely changed.
Do you think that young boys and people your age are able to talk to each other enough about their emotions?
You don't speak to anyone about them, there's no point. Because most of the time it's someone telling you just to man up, shut up.
It makes it worse.
Yeah.
Back in Westminster, a newly formed group of Labour MPs wants the government to grip this issue and have invited ITV News into one of their meetings.
I've been looking at the exclusion rates in secondary school, and they're going up and up and up. And we've got to start thinking about why that's happening. Why are young men no longer fitting into our education system?
And the fact that so few primary school teachers are male. And let's be honest, you know, we all think about teachers we had at school and the great ones who were like role models to us, and I think boys need more male role models in the classroom.
I know 7 men who've taken their own life. That's just absolutely appalling. 1 is a tragedy, 7's a systemic issue in our society.
Why is this an issue that suddenly got lots of attention? Is it just because of a TV show?
No, I genuinely think that if you look at the cohort of new MPs in particular on the Labour side, this has been a big issue for a long, long time. I have to get away from a political snobbery, which is to say that to talk about men's issues and boys' issues is somehow anti-women or anti-girls. It absolutely is not.
No, there's a moral reason for trying to focus on these issues. Is there a political reason as well?
There's a moral duty for the Labour Party in government, but I would argue the political classes more broadly to come up with positive answers to the problems that they've got. What would it look like if we had more male primary school teachers? What does it look like to have support mechanisms for men with mental health issues?
Has politics failed young men and boys over the last few decades?
I think if you look at the statistics and if you look at the outputs, then on the whole, men on lots of measures do better than other women, for example, but also white men do much better than other. But there's absolutely a fundamental problem that there is there's a generation of young boys coming through where there is not an offer for them, and they do not have a sense of belonging, and that's a moral outrage that we need to address.
Listening to those MPs, there was a clear consensus that this issue has been ignored for too long and does now need addressing. But even the Prime Minister admits there isn't an obvious policy response to all the challenges facing young men and boys, and many will fear that that means politicians might lose focus on this issue.
I'll grab a chair.
But away from politics, one former teacher is trying to help navigate young men through their adolescence.
Step to the line when you think, yeah, I'm going to cry here. If you go somewhere private, if you don't like to be seen, step to the line.
Using workshops in schools to challenge some of society's expectations of what it means to be a man.
Have you got to be a provider or the provider?
Yeah, I'd probably say it's more the providers, like what people think you should be.
Yeah.
And you should make the money and you should make sure that you bring the food home every day.
When you go around different schools, what are the sort of things you hear from young boys?
We hear a lot of frustration, actually. We hear a lot of, young boys feel a bit unseen, a bit unheard. They feel like they never hear the word masculinity without the word toxic attached to it.
Have these issues around masculinity always been there, or do you think this is a new thing that we're only talking about now because of social media?
I think we're very fortunate now in that actually I feel like the world is ready to have these conversations. And these conversations are difficult, growth is difficult, they can be a little bit painful at times. I think social media maybe has intensified some of it, but I think these conversations are well overdue.
In schools, at home and in Parliament, these conversations are now happening. But finding solutions and delivering change for young men will be much more difficult. Harry Horton, ITV News.